You ever look at Chris Brown's life and think, hold up, is this man a human being or a billion-dollar movie franchise? Because everything about him screams main character energy. The mansions, the cars, the drip, the chaos. Every chapter of his story feels like it was directed by someone with an unlimited budget and a love for drama. One minute he's gliding across the stage smoother than melted butter. The next he's casually parking a car worth more than your entire neighborhood. Love him or hate him, you can't look away. And that's the thing about Breezy. He doesn't just exist in pop culture, he is pop culture. But before the Grammys, the glow-ups, and the garages full of rolling artwork, there was just Christopher Maurice Brown, a kid from a small Virginia town you could literally miss if you blinked while driving through. Born in 1989 in the quiet little place called Tappahannock, Chris grew up surrounded by gospel on Sundays, chores after school, and the kind of small-town silence that either breaks you or makes you dream louder. His mom, Joyce, ran a daycare. His dad, Clinton, worked as a corrections officer. There were no red carpets, just hard work and rhythm. Because in that house, the soundtrack was soul. Marvin Gaye, Al Green, Anita Baker, the kind of music that teaches you how to feel before you learn how to sing. Then came the legends that changed everything. Usher, Tupac, and the one man who practically raised an entire generation of dancers, Michael Jackson. Chris didn't just listen to MJ, he studied him. Every spin, every glide, every breath. He'd be in the mirror for hours, imitating moves like a scientist decoding magic. That mirror was his first stage, but behind those early dreams was real pain. When Chris was 6, his parents split. His mother's next relationship became abusive, and Chris witnessed things no child ever should. He's spoken about those nights, how he'd hide in fear, listening to his mom being attacked, feeling helpless. Music became his escape route. It wasn't just something he did, it was how he survived. Fast forward a few years, and that kid with the pain in his eyes starts performing anywhere he could. At 11, he brought the house down at summer camp, singing Cisco's Thong Song. Questionable lyrics for a kid? Absolutely. But that confidence? Unmatched. That was the moment everyone around him realized, this boy's different. His mom saw it too. She became his manager, chauffeur, and hype woman all rolled into one. She'd drive for hours to auditions in bigger cities, praying someone would notice. Eventually, someone did. By 13, Chris was discovered by local producers who introduced him to big-time music execs in New York. The dream was starting to get real. Then came the leap of faith. At 16, he dropped out of school to chase music full-time. No plan B, no safety net, just talent, drive, and a belief bigger than fear. And guess what? It worked. Because when Run It hit the airwaves in 2005, everything changed. That song exploded. Billboard #1, platinum sales, global attention. Chris Brown didn't just arrive, he erupted. And for the first time since Montel Jordan, a male artist debuted at #1 straight out the gate. 16 years old, chart-topping, moonwalking his way into history. The industry didn't know what hit it. His voice had that smooth, effortless tone. His dance moves were supernatural, and his charisma was radioactive. Every award show, every stage, Chris Brown was the headline. Exclusive, FAME, Fortune, Indigo. Each album became a new era, a new evolution of Breezy. He wasn't just keeping up with the times, he was setting them. The Grammys, the BET Awards, the tours that sold out in hours, it was dominance on autopilot. He opened for Beyoncé. He shared stages with Rihanna. He went from singing in church to selling out stadiums across continents. Over 197 million records sold later, Chris Brown has earned his spot in music history, right up there with the legends he used to imitate in front of that mirror. But let's be honest, fame came with fireworks. Scandals, controversies, public mistakes. His life hasn't exactly been a highlight reel of perfection. And yet, every time people wrote him off, he came back with another hit, another album, another chart record shattered. You don't have to like him, but you can't deny him. Because while others crumble under fame, Chris Brown builds empires with it. The man's a walking comeback story. He's been criticized, canceled, forgiven, reinvented, and through it all, he's still here, still dancing, still dominating. And you know what that kind of resilience buys you? Real estate. And not just any real estate. The kind that makes Beverly Hills realtors cry with jealousy. So buckle up, because we're not talking about some cozy mansion with nice curtains. We're about to step inside Chris Brown's actual fortress, his Tarzana mansion, a place so luxurious it makes five-star hotels look like budget motels. The kind of place where chandeliers hang like royalty, pools glow like movie sets, and even the driveway flexes harder than most people's salaries. Ready to see how Breezy lives? Let's ring the doorbell. Welcome to Tarzana, California, where palm trees gossip with the wind and luxury real estate sits higher than most people's life goals. Up here, hidden in the quiet hills of Los Angeles, stands the castle that Breezy built. And let me tell you, this isn't a house, it's a statement. The kind of property that whispers, "I've made it," every time you pull into the driveway. Purchased in 2014 for a casual $4.3 million, Chris Brown's mansion is the physical embodiment of his lifestyle. Bold, unapologetic, and bigger than life itself. We're talking about 8,000 square feet of luxury sprawled across 3 separate buildings. Yes, 3. Because when you're Chris Brown, you don't just have a house, you have a compound. The driveway alone is an experience. It's long, winding, gated, and so dramatic you half expect a drone shot and theme music every time someone drives up. And when those gates open, boom, a 2-story modern fortress staring you down like, "Welcome to the Breezy verse." Inside, the vibe shifts from celebrity glam to full-blown royal energy. Floor-to-ceiling glass walls, imported Italian limestone floors, black hardwood, custom art installations that look like they belong in a gallery. Every room looks like it was designed by someone who asked, "How can I make this look expensive without saying it's expensive?" The living room? That's not a room, it's a flex. High ceilings, plush white sofas, and a chandelier that could probably pay off your student loans. And because this is Chris Brown we're talking about, the walls are covered with his own graffiti art. Not prints, not posters, his actual paintings. It's part home, part art museum, part genius lab. Then there's the kitchen. Oh, this kitchen could host a Michelin chef and a music video at the same time. Marble countertops that shine like mirrors, a professional-grade stove, 2 wine fridges, and an island so big it probably has its own zip code. You can almost picture him making breakfast while testing a new melody in the background. Because yes, there's a full recording studio upstairs. And speaking of that studio, it's not your typical home setup. This is a soundproof, state-of-the-art creative sanctuary where he's probably recorded some of his biggest hits. It's got mood lighting, a balcony view of the hills, and equipment that costs more than your entire car collection. For Chris, this space isn't just about music. It's therapy, creation, and control all in one place. Now let's talk about the primary bedroom, or as I like to call it, the throne room. We're talking fireplace, private terrace, spa-style bathroom, and walk-in closets so massive they could double as apartments. This is where fashion meets function. The man's sneaker collection alone deserves its own episode. From rare Jordans to custom Louis Vuitton pairs, his closet is basically Foot Locker meets Met Gala. And that's just the inside. Step outside, and you're instantly transported to a 5-star resort. The backyard is a paradise built for someone who performs for the world but relaxes like royalty. A sparkling pool that catches the California sun like a mirror, complete with a jacuzzi, outdoor bar, barbecue pit, and even a full-blown movie projector setup for midnight screenings. There's a grassy lawn, a fire pit for those LA nights, and a separate guest house that could comfortably house an entire production crew. But the coolest part? The outdoor chandelier-lit dining area. Yes, you heard that right. Chandeliers outside. Only Chris Brown could turn dinner under the stars into something that looks like a music video set. And because every king needs his fortress within a fortress, Chris added a detached building purely for entertainment. A private movie theater with a bar, billiards, and enough speakers to make your neighbors file a noise complaint from 2 zip codes away. Everything about this property screams one thing: control. After years of chaos, criticism, and reinvention, Chris built himself a world where he calls the shots. A house that represents not just wealth, but freedom. The ability to live on his own terms, in his own world, surrounded by art, family, and music. But hold up, we're not done flexing yet, because while this mansion is the throne, the garage is where the real kingdom lives. And when Chris Brown opens those garage doors, oh, it's not cars you see, it's statements. Sculptures made of steel, speed, and pure attitude. Let's just say, if Bruce Wayne retired from Gotham and became an R&B star, his garage would look exactly like this. So grab your seatbelt, because next up, we're diving into Chris Brown's insane car collection. And trust me, it's not just luxury, it's lunacy on wheels. Buckle up, literally, because we're now stepping into Chris Brown's garage, and calling it a garage feels wrong. This isn't some dusty space where you park your Corolla. This is a cathedral of horsepower. Every inch of this place glows like a billionaire's trophy room mixed with a racetrack. When Chris Brown opens those doors, it's not engines you hear, it's applause. Let's start with the crown jewel, the Bugatti Veyron. You know you've made it when your car's price tag starts with a 3 and ends in million. The Veyron is pure insanity, an 8.0-liter quad-turbocharged W16 engine spitting out 1,001 horsepower. That's not a car, that's a land-based missile with Bluetooth. And the color? Custom because of course. When Breezy rolls through LEA in that thing, traffic doesn't slow down, it stops. People pull out phones, jaws drop, and somewhere a valet cries. But that's just the opening act, because next up is a full-blooded American monster, the Dodge Viper. Loud, muscular, unapologetic. This car doesn't whisper, it growls. It's raw energy on 4 wheels, powered by an 8.4-liter V10 that sounds like it eats Mustangs for breakfast. It's basically what would happen if Attitude had an engine. Then you've got the Italian royalty, the Lamborghinis. Yes, plural, because having one is for regular rich people. Chris has options. The 2014 Lamborghini Gallardo? That's his stylish assassin. Sleek, sharp, and agile. And then there's the Lamborghini Aventador SVJ, which, by the way, sounds like something Tony Stark would fly to brunch. SVJ stands for Super Veloce Jada, but all you really need to know is it means fast enough to scare you. 770 horsepower, carbon fiber body, top speed of 217 miles per hour. It's a road-legal rocket. When Chris floors it, the car doesn't just move, it disappears. You can practically imagine him speeding down Mulholland Drive with that signature grin, thinking, yeah, I earned this. But wait, we're not done revving yet, because Breezy isn't stuck in the past. He's got one foot in the future. Enter the Faraday Future FF91, a fully electric, ultra-luxury SUV that feels like it was designed for the year 2050. 1,200 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 2.4 seconds, doors that open like wings, and an AI system that probably knows his mood before he does. It's like if a Tesla had a baby with a spaceship. And that's the thing about Chris. He's not just collecting cars, he's curating moods. Each car fits a version of him, the artist, the rebel, the futurist, the icon. Like his Porsche 911, for instance. Smooth, timeless, classy. That's not a flex car. That's a Sunday morning drive, windows down, playlist on shuffle car. It's a statement of taste, not power. And he's got that too. Now you'd think that's enough horsepower for one lifetime, right? Wrong. Because Breezy's garage has one more twist. Something straight out of an action movie. The Rezvani tank. Yes, tank. It's an armored SUV that looks like it should come with a theme song and its own security clearance. Bulletproof panels, night vision, thermal cameras. This thing could survive an apocalypse and still valet at the Grammys. It's not just for show either. For a guy who's had his fair share of fame-fueled chaos, the tank doubles as both transportation and protection. When you've got that much money, attention, and a history of paparazzi ambushes, you want your car to say, "Try me." And then, because he's still Breezy, the man of flair, the showman, the perfectionist, we close the lineup with royalty, the Rolls-Royce Wraith. If the Bugatti is power and the Lambo is attitude, the Wraith is presence. The kind of car that doesn't scream wealth, it hums it. The doors open like wings, the leather smells like success, and the ceiling, a constellation of tiny lights mimicking a starry sky. It's basically a galaxy you can drive. So when Chris Brown pulls up anywhere, studio, award show, or late night drive, he doesn't arrive, he enters. Every car tells a story, and together they form his biography in metal and speed. But here's the wild part. All that flash isn't even where the real money is. Because Chris Brown's greatest investment isn't parked in his driveway. It's what he's built behind the scenes. See, while most artists spend their millions, Breezy multiplies his. From fashion lines to fast food chains to futuristic tech partnerships. The man's portfolio is as diverse as his playlists. So before you start thinking it's all cars, mansions, and platinum plaques, think again. Because up next, we're stepping into the business world of Chris Brown. The empire that makes the empire possible. You've seen the lifestyle. Now it's time to meet the mogul. So here's the thing about Chris Brown. He doesn't just make hits, he multiplies them. Most artists stop at streaming checks and tour money. Breezy? Nah. He treats fame like an investment portfolio. Music might have made him rich, but business made him unstoppable. It all kicked off back in 2007 when he founded Chris Brown Entertainment, CBE for short. At first, it was just his label under Interscope, a way to sign and develop new artists. But it didn't take long before he turned it into a machine that gave him total creative control. No corporate filters, no middlemen watering down his vision. If he wants to drop a 45-track double album at 3 a.m. on Halloween, he can. That's the kind of power CBE gives him. The kind most artists dream of, but few ever touch. But Breezy didn't stop there. In 2009, while most celebs were posting selfies on MySpace, he quietly launched Mechanical Dummy, a lifestyle blog before influencer culture was even a thing. It was a digital mood board for his world: music, art, fashion, tech. Basically, an early peek into the mind of a trendsetter who could see culture shifting before it even moved. Then came one of the most random yet brilliant business moves ever: Burger King franchises. Yeah, you heard that right. Chris Brown owned 14 of them. While everyone else was fighting over record deals, Breezy was flipping whoppers into wealth. That's what we call multi-stream income, extra cheese. And just when people thought that was his wildest move, he sold them off at the perfect time before franchise costs skyrocketed. Smart, calculated. The man's not just dancing, he's chess playing. Then came fashion, and oh, this is where the fun really starts. In 2012, Chris launched Black Pyramid, a streetwear brand built on his signature aesthetic: bold, geometric, and fearless. The name itself was symbolic, representing mystery, power, and the idea that no one fully understands his creative genius except him. He teamed up with Pink Dolphin's creators, dropped limited releases, and the line exploded. By 2016, he'd partnered with European retail giant Snipes, putting his gear in stores across North America and Europe. Black Pyramid wasn't just a clothing line anymore. It was a movement. The kind of brand you wear when you want to say, "Yeah, I hustle in style." And the endorsements, just as sharp. He's modeled for Bait Black Label, flexed in Philip Plain campaigns, and turned every appearance into free marketing. Chris doesn't wear clothes. He turns them into walking ads. But the Breezy business playbook isn't all streetwear and fast food. In 2021, he did what no one saw coming. He launched his own limited edition cereal. Yep, Breezy's Cosmic Crunch. It was colorful, collectible, and absurdly successful. Fans bought it like merch, because that's the magic of his name. Slap Breezy on anything, and it prints money. Then came the tech turn. While everyone else was still figuring out NFTs, Chris was already in deep. He dropped 2 collections, the oracles in Breezyverse, complete with 3D animations, blockchain verification, and digital fashion tie-ins. But here's what separated him from the hype artists. He actually tied the drop to his album launch. That's right, the NFTs weren't just art, they were access to virtual performances, merch, and behind-the-scenes exclusives. That's innovation, not imitation. And because Breezy doesn't just follow trends, he predicts them, he made another leap. The cannabis industry. He teamed up with California Originals to launch Bucine, his own line of designer weed strains. This wasn't your corner store experiment. It was luxury cannabis, the Hermes of herb. Premium branding, curated flavors, and a lifestyle rollout that matched his aesthetic. High-end, high-energy, and high quality. Pun fully intended. Then came his most futuristic move yet. He became a co-creation officer and brand ambassador for Faraday Future Intelligent Electric Incorporated. That's not just slapping his name on an ad. That's sitting at the table where billion-dollar innovation happens. He wasn't endorsing the electric future. He was helping design it. And that's the thing about Chris Brown's empire. It's not luck, it's leverage. He took fame and turned it into infrastructure. Every song funds a brand. Every brand feeds a business. Every business protects his legacy. Most celebrities have entourages. Chris Brown? He has enterprises. That's why his estimated net worth today isn't just tens of millions. Depending on who you ask, it's pushing toward 9 figures when you add up the real estate, royalties, brands, and equity stakes. He's no longer just the star of the show. He owns the stage. But for all the flash, money, and flex, there's still one piece of the puzzle that makes Chris Brown truly fascinating. The man himself. Because behind the headlines and the headlines about the headlines, there's a story of redemption, faith, and evolution. So before we close this out, let's drop the spotlight and meet the human behind the fame. The father, the fighter, the survivor. Because believe it or not, the most expensive thing Chris Brown owns is his peace. You know, for all the money, mansions, and mayhem, the real luxury in Chris Brown's life isn't material, it's peace. Yeah, he's had scandals, headlines, chaos, but through all of it, he kept creating, kept climbing, and somehow came out stronger. He's not perfect, never claimed to be, but resilience, he's built different. Now he's a father of 3, still dancing, still dominating, still living proof that you can fall from the top and build your way back, higher. So whether you see him as the legend, the rebel, or the survivor, one thing's undeniable. Chris Brown's story isn't finished. It's still being remixed. Which part of his life blew your mind the most? The music, the mansions, or the comeback? Drop your thoughts below. And hey, if you love stories that mix fame, fortune, and a little chaos, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned. Because we've got more wild lifestyles, more icons, and more secrets from the top coming your way. This is Chris Brown's Luxury Life 2025. The cars, the cash, the chaos, and the comeback of a lifetime.